Hi, I'm Ian Smith and you're watching the Shiny Disc Show for the week ending 19th of April 2008. What's the Dalek doing here? Stay tuned and you may just find out. Christ! With a week off work, I've had more time this week to look at the new releases. So for 1 week only, here's a top 10 countdown of what's in stores this week. At number 10, we've got a tent dog poll release from 2005. Viggo Mortensen, fresh from success as Aragorn in Lord of the Rings, debuted as the desert hero Hidalgo.
Actually, that's not quite true. Hidalgo is the name of Mortensen's horse, but never mind. It's easy to get confused by this poor attempt at an epic tale. Hidalgo is all about a 3,000-mile race across blistering desert terrain. Mortensen tries his best, but slow plotting and seen it all before filmmaking mean that this attempt at a cross between Lawrence of Arabia and Raiders of the Lost Ark never really gets out the starting gate. And at 2¼ hours, it's just too long. The picture quality is an improvement over the standard DVD, but lacks the 3D punch of better titles. It's a good, but not great, transfer in other words, and with a DVD available online for less than £4, it's hard to justify investing in the Blu-ray disc, which is typically selling online for about £18. The same few extras from the original DVD have been copied across and comprise nothing more than a couple of slim featurettes. If you haven't seen this one yet, then it's worth a rental, but don't buy it.
If money's a bit tight this week, you'll like my number 9 choice. It's free. Well, free if you pay £3.80 for a film magazine. But with over 100 pages of news, film reviews and a month's worth of Shiny Disc reviews, what's not to like?
There's over 2 hours of trailers on the Total Film DVD, and admittedly most of these are for forthcoming blockbusters, but there's a few for Shiny Discs that are due out in the next few months. More interestingly, we get a sneak peek at some of the extras that are likely to make their way to us on Shiny Disc, including a look behind the scenes of the making of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and director Guillermo del Toro shows us his personal sketchpad of monsters for the upcoming Hellboy 2 movie.
Okay, so I'm cheating a bit on this next one. It was actually released last week rather than this. Critics didn't like it much and the public seemed not to like it too much either if comments on Internet Movie Database are to be taken as typical. Tough. I liked it a lot. My number 8 choice is Chromophobia.
A bourgeois family falling apart at the seams as secrets become public knowledge is the subject matter for Chromophobia. Marcus Aylesbury is about to have a very bad day. His wife seems determined to bankrupt him in between her trips to the psychologist and never-ending shopping sprees. His son appears to have serious psychological problems that may or may not be connected with his gay godfather, who ends up lying half-beaten to death in hospital. His father expects more than any human can possibly deliver, while his boss seems determined to push him into a scam that, if it became public, could end his career, while his best friend is a journalist desperate for a story that might save his own career. Welcome to the day from hell. Add in a social worker and a dying prostitute that may be somehow connected to a member of the Aylesbury family, and you have Chromophobia. The main objection to the film appears to be that director Martha Fiennes is too distant from her characters and maintains a detached viewpoint that means we can't empathise with any of them. I beg to differ. Chromophobia is a visually distinctive, intelligent, beautifully scripted piece of contemporary drama, and with an ensemble cast comprising Ian Holm, Ralph Fiennes, Damian Lewis, Penelope Cruz, Rhys Evans and Kristen Scott Thomas all acting their chops off, it's hard to understand why the critics have so taken against it. If Pirates of the Caribbean or the Star Wars films are your favourite movies of all time, then okay, you should probably avoid this. But if you like subtler fare, this comes recommended. I won't say highly recommended, because despite selling for full price, there isn't a single extra on the disc. This is a vanilla Shiny disc, not so much as a trailer. Poor show, Momentum, poor show.
When your film turns into an unexpected $200 million grossing blockbuster, it seems somewhat greedy to then put it out on shiny disc with a recommended retail price of, wait for it, £30. And with so few extras too. I feel the next disc is a rip-off, but kids will love it. Pinky and Perky have got a lot to answer for.
Jason Lee doesn't actually say, "My name is Earl" in Alvin and the Chipmunks, but he could easily do so, since his loser songwriter character, Dave Seville, is Earl's twin brother in all but name. Fired for producing songs that don't sell, he bumps into Alvin and the Chipmunks, a trio of burping, farting and generally ASBO-seeking rodents who end up moving in with him and reviving his career, whilst becoming the sort of act that gets pop music a bad name. An evil record company boss, played by Dave Cross, overacting for all he's worth, sends them on a grueling world tour to line his pockets, and it's left to Dave to rescue them and reunite his artificial little family. Mixing live action with very good CGI characters, Alvin and the Chipmunks has plenty to keep the kids entertained, and maybe their parents too, at least until they start breaking into song. And the whole anti-merchandise and anti-marketing message seems a little bizarre given the way the Chipmunks have been mercilessly used to make money since the early 60s. Two extras cover the history of the group, talking at great length about the originality of the vocals, without once mentioning our own Pinky and Perky, who did the same thing not just here, but also on the Ed Sullivan Show in the States in the early 60s. Is there some rewriting of history going on? Surely not. But for an overpriced title aimed strictly at the kids, it seems odd that the only extras are two very short documentaries that are likely to have no interest at all for children. Given the high asking price, it pains me to say this is probably a purchase rather than a rental, if only because kids are likely to want to watch it over and over again. I just wish I could be more enthusiastic about a disc that seems to want to have its cake and eat